What's up, everybody? Happy Saturday. We still haven't had time to really do a total overview of the LSA Suburban as far as all the stuff that we've done to this thing as it sits, but we get a lot of questions about the fuel system on this, so I'm going to do a little rundown / overview of that, just to answer a few of the questions that we get. So this is a 2000 Suburban, so it's got a return style system, and we've got a surge tank down here with 2 additional pumps in it. So let's see if we can get enough view here. So we've got our feed and our return from our factory lines back there with the adapters. Those come up, and the factory fuel feed comes in and just dumps into this canister, and this canister is about 12 inches long and about 5.5 inches around, but the factory fuel system only fills this tank, so it only sees a couple psi, and then there's 2 pumps in here that then feed these 2 lines, this one here and this one here, that go into this Y, that then run up to, well, they actually run all the way around to this side of the rail and feed into the back of the rail here. They go across the crossover, and then from the outlet of the rails on this side, it loops around, goes into my regulator, and then goes out of the regulator. And then from here, there's a T from the outlet of the regulator that goes back to the factory return. And there's also the other side of this T runs up to the top of the lid here. So any excess fuel from the factory pump, once this tank is full, gets pushed back down the return line, and anything that comes out of the regulator, if the tank is not full, it either goes into this tank and fills this up, or it will go back to the main tank. So pretty basic setup. It's real easy to swap pumps. We actually have 1 pump in here right now that's dead. It died about a week ago. We used the Chinese Most Plus brand Aeromotive 340 knockoffs, and they don't last that long. They last about 4,000 or 5,000 miles. The nice thing about that is if you have a pump die, you basically just short your hobs. It powers up both pumps and you can keep driving. The other thing as well too is if, say, you're on a long trip and both of these pumps die, you can take the feed that comes in from your factory line that feeds into this tank and hook it up to your rail feed, and you'll have full fuel pressure from your factory pump. You won't have the flow, so you're not going to be making max horsepower off of a 250 liter an hour factory pump, but you won't be stranded on the side of the road. So hopefully that it kind of answers some of the questions on this. On the fuel system itself, we've been doing a bunch of towing lately on 1 340 pump and haven't had any fuel system problems so far. So we were towing up a couple things last night from storage. We've got a Holley Terminator with a Pro Dash, so we can monitor our fuel pressure. The only thing we're going to add to this at some point is we're going to put a pressure sensor on the actual tank, the surge tank, and a fuel temperature. Because it's so close to the radiator and it's under the hood, we haven't had any sort of fuel boiling problems, but we have noticed that our fuel pressure will start to drop when this thing gets really hot, long grades and things like that. And I'm not sure if that's because the regulator is right here under the booster and it's so close to the exhaust, or if it's just the fuel temperature itself getting too hot. So hopefully that answers your guys' questions, and hope you guys have a good weekend.